thumbs up.
All right, if everybody could find a seat, please. We're going to get started. Welcome to Malvern Books. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. We have 3 readers who are all sure to be excellent, so let's just get going. Our first reader is Jess Smith. Jess Smith is pursuing a PhD in English at Texas Tech University. Her work can be found in Prairie Schooner, Waxwing, 32 Poems, the Rumpus, and other journals. She's received scholarships from the Sewanee Writers Conference and the Vermont Studio Center. Please welcome Jess Smith.
All right. How's that?
Great.
Good? Okay, not too loud either, right? That's the worst. Thank you so much to Malvern Books for having us tonight. This is a beautiful space. Thank you to my fellow readers, particularly Kathleen, who asked me to come, which was a huge honor. And thank you everyone for coming. It is so nice to see you and to meet some of you. I'm only going to read maybe 8 poems from my manuscript. And I'll give you a warning when we're near the end. The first one is, I always think it's really fascinating when you give readings, afterward people will come up to you and say, did that really happen to you? Is that real? Is that true? Which I think is a rude question, so please don't ask me. But so I wrote this poem about that, but also about my mother. And the poem is called Two Truths and a Lie. My uncle used to dress my mother up in an old white nightgown, paint her skin sickly, and have her lie silent in the attic, charging the neighborhood kids a dime to see the dead girl. My mother was very ill a few years ago, her flesh damp and malleable as dough. She wanted the curtains open. She has never been the same. My mother has never shot a gun. My mother married my father on a ski slope in Wyoming, surrounded by strangers. She never said, I do. My father said, she does. My mother and father were married. My father is married to someone else. My father is a candle in every dark room, but he's the one who cut the power. My mother is my father. My father is a man named Matthew, a man named James, a man named Andrew, a man named... My name would have been different in every way, certainly less sibilant. My mother is named after a Musketeer. I think your children should name you instead. I would name my mother Citrus. I would name her Heathcliff. I would name her Daisy, Windswept, Stanza, Question, Diana, Hitchhike, Hira, Tolstoy. I would give my mother a new name every morning, waking up near her, the curtains open, seeing in her dawn face what might happen that day, who she might like to be. This one, I was just telling my friends about this one before we arrived. It's called Elegy for My Mother's Boyfriend. It's actually after a James Kimbrell poem. I don't think you're dead yet, Randy. I bet you're still coaching tennis at the club, watching the best-looking moms chase their youth around the clay courts in expensive cleats. I do think you love my mother for a minute, slouching around our detonated home as if you had not been one of the many fingers on the trigger. Having taught me how to palm a racket, how to watch for the exact moment the ball begins to drop tennis court kairos, cool fall afternoons, before you complained there was no more coffee, and why would a 16-year-old need caffeine anyway? Before my mother went so mute with defeat that she let you stomp around her daughters, bloated and boxered, as if you'd been a champion once. Thanks. I don't think he'll like it very much. This poem's called Hamartia, which it's a protagonist's fatal flaw. I'm sure most of you know that, but just in case. In a tragedy. Hamartia. 1. Racine said the failings of love are real failings. Excessive susceptibility to sexual feelings is an example of a failure of love. So too loving one's father or mother too much, the azalea of her hair, the grand piano of his beard. 2. It should not be understood as a collapse of morality, a misunderstanding, a farce starring my dragged heart. Who will care for me now? The audience crying out, trying to warn me beneath which bedsheets lurk the monster. 3. Anagnorisis is a comatose word for the moment of discovery. The curtain pulled, first fires set. Enter my half-dressed mother, father, brother, lover. Each can be told from each by the choice of costume, weapon, subtle changes in the lighting scheme. 4. My mother carries what the audience thinks is a diamond, but is, in fact, a branding iron. My father has a handgun, boring. My brother, a slim knife in a skin sheath. The lighting shifts to rose, lavender, sunset. My lover, clanging and quaking the stage with steel-toed boots. 5. Would that we could script what we love and how much I'd have written planetarium, hammerhead, ruby-studded teacups, and as little as possible. No one wants to watch the play where the heroine coughs for the entire final act. What doesn't kill you will. Yeah, I'll read this one. It's a holiday one, sort of. It's called Do You Hear What I Hear? It's a short little creepy one. Do you hear what I hear? A still, smoking Marlboro balanced on the Coke can's lip that Christmas, our last together. My face in your stained hands, I said waste, and you nodded. It snowed for days, and we heat-seeking Southerners went mad with cabin fever. Black rooms scattered with the cast of red lights, spindly tinsel tangling my hair. They said a man like you could get a corpse pregnant, but I was your actual daughter. I debated whether or not I wanted to read this next poem, but I think we're in good, tender company, so I think I will. It's about, I moved to Lubbock, Texas in 2015, and it's sort of about reckoning with the culture of guns there and gun ownership and gun use, and also how that dovetails and overlaps with the culture of masculinity there, which is something I've struggled with and I find very painful. But so that's why I was nervous to share it, but I think I will. Okay, it's called Lady Smith. I never thought I'd love a man with a room full of skulls, a deer's ear fur still clinging where he hasn't finished cleaning out the sockets. He tells me when he killed this one and how. Amazing how many methods there are for only one outcome. He lifts a gun, longer than a cobra, blacker than burnt shrapnel, from its glass case. This one, he says, was my father's. His arms strain with beloved weight, the weapon as heavy as me in the morning when I want him to take me home and he won't. This one, he says, pulling a petite piece of chrome from the bottom drawer, is for you. His first gift, my West Texas protection, my pink handle with grooves designed for smaller hands. If I hold my fist just loose enough, barely tickle the delicate trigger, the grip fits perfectly, my Lady Smith dangling like an afterthought from the flimsy of my wrist. I move it against his chest. I draw a heart on his sternum with its tip. Yes, he smiles. You get it. So on the drive here with my fiance Mike, I said, do you think if I read a poem called Fitspo, that everyone will know what Fitspo is? And he said, yeah, for sure. And then a few seconds later he said, but just remind me. So Fitspo, for those of you who don't know, it's a portmanteau of fitness and inspiration. And it's a hashtag people use on the internet a lot. And I really like to work out, and I really like to follow Fitspo on the internet. So this poem's called Fitspo. Your hair curlicues into apostrophes when you sweat, as if every exertion were contraction. We're out running, hips shifting like parentheses, dripping exclamation of ponytail. We're panting in our separate bodies. We stop to take in the forest, which is quiet, but not still. You wipe your apostrophe brow. Dusk thrills the trees. Your palms, my knees. Name a body part that is not a verb. Okay, I just have two left for you, for us. And this one's also about working out. It's called Ode to Stairmaster. Ode to Stairmaster. Dear ladder to nowhere, dear Escher sketch made manifest, thank you for allowing my broke, hungover body to climb you, an oblivious ascension, lifting the crescent of my ass so it doesn't drag on the floor like it feels like doing most days, mostly when the wind carries a crisp apple scent. And in my other life, I would have put on his sweater, turned the thermostat up for the first time in the fall. Thank you, Stairmaster, you burned down house with only a staircase remaining, for letting me pretend there are still bedrooms at the top I can enter, children I need to wake in time for pancakes. Thank you for making me hotter in the loneliest way, for your attached screen on which I watch endless loops of mindless TV on silent, listening instead to sex pop songs with a thick beat, reminding myself of the task underfoot, believing that if T-Pain could see me, he might like it. Maybe he'd serenade me from the top of the hill I'll never reach. Girl, it must be a crime to be as fine as you. Thank you, T-Pain. Thank you, heavy bass. And thank you, dear, metal, gaping mouth, whose teeth I scale every day, whose black mechanics are just what a heartless girl like me needs. You who agree that the artless progression toward improved nudity viewing is a worthy pursuit. Dear body, dear ass, dear ever harder heart, I owe it all to you, Stairmaster. Don't give up on me now. I'm not even close. And then I'll finish with, this is actually the first poem in my manuscript, and it's called No Other Appetite, which is a line from a poem that Ted Hughes wrote about Sylvia Plath. It's very, very healthy. No Other Appetite. The first time it was nightlight, lambent bloom, the color of a bell. What sound is the shadow of a man moving behind me? Not click, not clap, something closer to applause, but less intact. This champagne I drink is a kind of chaos, boiling cold in the mouth, prelude to ocean blue blackout. I like life hot and quick. I like to blink and miss it. His carnivore gaze, those lawless canine irises, need I even say it, should have been red flags. But the tint of my life had brightened to fluorescence, that wild cast of obliteration. Morning and twilight burned the same white, both of us gone feral and sunblind. The last time, it was whirling siren, bloodbath, spun with sapphire. My cobalt face, my blasted alabaster, my ghastly human scraps. What color is the tongue of a mother licking back to life her long dead cub? Indigo drips of ink spidering a hot glass of water, surprise vermilion staining the back of a young girl's newest dress. Nothing is enough if you know how much you could have had. Thank you very much.